disappear when they are cured, but sky remains. Empty sky is neither born nor annihilated, and that is Buddha's perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind. And our purpose is to be enlightened to that mind. Instantly, Master Chung put great emphasis on emptiness. He said, and the Dharma was of Master Chung, be emptiness itself. George, you remember? Putting emphasis, be the emptiness itself. What I think, here's Master Chung got a lot of idea from this Yuan Che Ching, perfect enlightenment. I'm going to show how. Perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind. If you have that, you are the richest, you are the happiest, you are the greatest. Because if you have that perfectly enlightened one God notion, wherever you go, you create heaven, paradise. You can even change hellish world into a paradise. That is the marvelous power which one God notion has. I told you last time that was from chapter 2. Chapter 2 is on the Bodhisattva Samatha Buhatra. Today I am going to introduce chapter 1, which is Manjusri. Manjusri, Bodhisattva Manjusri, represents Buddha's wisdom, prajna. And we read section 3 of the chapter on Ironsang, the circle, practice of Ironsang, and I'm going to connect it, how they are related, how they say the same thing. Very important. As we read the section on practice of Ironsang, it's very short, very simple thing, but you can translate the prajna wisdom as none other than perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind. Prajna wisdom means like a prajna insight. You know, insight, if you have the prajna insight, you have the great light of wisdom, and you can illuminate the whole world and see what is good, what is bad for you, what is right and what is wrong. So we have to follow the teaching of the practice of Ironsang. So let me introduce the main point of the chapter 1 of this book, which is in Chinese and Korean. So I have to give some kind of translations. The Manjusri, the Bodhisattva Manjusri, asks the Buddha to explain how, before his enlightenment, the Buddha was enlightened, how did he start his search for truth, and how did he take the step of enlightenment? And the Buddha answers. And he asks, so that if you explain your aspiration to realize Buddhahood and how you reached the Buddhahood, that will help many bodhisattvas and those deluded beings in the later generations. So please explain, so that those people who follow the teaching won't fall into a wicked, they wouldn't have the wicked, wrong views. And you know, there are all kinds of wicked views and also sometimes wrong interpretations of the Buddha's teaching. You see? It happens all the time. So we have in WonBuddhism, Chung Heng, correct enlightenment and right practice. Many people have some kind of a spiritual awakening, and they think that they are perfectly enlightened Buddhas. That's wrong. So in WonBuddhism we start the 4 pillars. Number 1, correct enlightenment and the right practice. Number 1. You know, you can play the Beethoven's piece when you are an elementary school kid or a junior high kid. Also, when you are a college student majoring in music, and also you're trained in the like going to Juilliard and so on and become a perfect musician. Of course, the child, the beginners can play, somehow imitate, but you know the difference between the perfection of the music played by the expert. So, in this way of following the Buddha's teaching also, there are all levels of understanding and enlightenment. Partial enlightenment is no good. That's why title of this book is Consummate Perfect Enlightenment. This enlightenment is not crooked, perfect enlightenment. And now the Buddha said, good, you are a good man, good bodhisattva, because you have given to the idea of teaching, the Buddha's teaching right. And the Buddha has a perfect enlightenment, yuan che in Chinese, perfect enlightenment. Remember, perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind, perfect enlightenment, which contains limitless merit and virtue. If you have this perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind, there's a limitless, unlimited, limitless merit and virtue comes out of your perfectly enlightened mind. And the 2 main merits of the perfectly enlightened mind are 2. One is wisdom. Great wisdom comes. Second is called sympathy, compassion, karuna. In Sanskrit, prajna, wisdom, and karuna is the compassion, sympathy, pity. Compassion, the best example of the compassion is mother's love of her own child. And this is the greatest virtue, okay? And the Buddha has this virtue of compassion for all the sentient beings. Feel pain when these deluded beings doing wrong things and then suffer the consequences, then Buddha feels very unhappy, feel sympathy. The Buddha is happy when all the sentient beings are enlightened to their own natures and then do only what is good for themselves and others. Then the Buddha is very happy. Just like the mother is happy when her child is doing well, healthy. You understand? So, from the perfect and enlightened, marvelous mind comes this wisdom and compassion. Is there any better word? Karuna translation. Karuna is compassion. Out of this perfectly enlightened mind comes nirvana and the enlightenment, and also the true nature of Buddha shows when you are enlightened. And once you are enlightened to your original nature, of course, you attain this perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind. When it functions, it gives all kinds of